I just strongly believe in the formative years. Those are such important years. I mean, I watch, tiny people grow into these structures, and, it happens there. I feel like exposure, because children are so advanced, like they're so crazily advanced, and they adapt and know things very quickly, and they mirror what they see. So
to be conscious of what they are seeing.
about what they're seeing, and also infiltrating this kind of thing into schools, like the ability to talk about your feelings, grade 1. Because it's as if, small children, they don't really have much to say, much to think of.
And they do.
But
they really do. They really do.
They have some, like, they should be in a class on how do I feel today, because that's where it starts. I've heard of cases of children with mental health diseases, mental diseases, being diagnosed from a young age and then being overlooked for a long time, and then those are the cases that are most affected, and then they end up either dead or, they don't seek help, and
or they end up being destructive to the community.
Exactly. So a problem that could be fixed from the jump, just to acknowledge that kids know a lot and they should be treated, accordingly.
And also to start the education there.
Yeah.
Yes. But I mean, that's almost taboo, like talk about your feelings in school, meditation,
Yeah.
whoa. But I mean, I can speak from my personal experience as well, because, so I had quite a traumatic childhood actually, and like, whenever I would try to speak to someone about it, or if I went to have like a massage because everything was so tense, everyone was like, you're so young, why are you so tense? What could you possibly have been through? Meanwhile, there's like this long list of insane stuff that like most people don't really go through in their lives that I've already experienced before my first decade, and that's overlooked because you're just a kid.
Yeah, there's no...
I mean, you don't even understand what's happening to you, whatever. Like, you don't remember that divorce, do you? Yes, I do. I was there. It was terrible. You don't know.
It tells me how little people actually understand the human mind.
Absolutely.
And how memories are formed and how they affect you. Even if you don't clearly remember it, there is still an echo.
It's the concept of the inner child.
Exactly.
That stuff stays.
It stays there.
That stuff stays. And I also want to, I think that's also part of our culture, is this whole thing of respect your elders, but no respect for the youth.
No.
And that's a problem. Why can we not just respect everyone? Why can we not just respect human beings for where they are at that point and help them through the point
and
where they are?
And respect their trauma. The elders have trauma, but that trauma might not be the same as the 6-year-old girl.
It might be worse for the 6-year-old.
Exactly.
It doesn't make sense. So we must respect the elders because they've been through so much and they know so much and they've gone through so much trauma. But when did they go through that trauma? When they were the youth.
Yeah, exactly.
So why are we not supporting everyone?
The youth.
Like, why are we not supporting human beings through their growth, through their entire lifetimes, just because they are people? Like, I live by a thing where I will respect you simply because you are a human being until you give me a reason not to.
Preach.
That I think and that's really important. Because people judge immediately. I will not respect you because you're black, because you're gay, because you're like, it's hot. Why? Why? I mean, I don't know. For me, that speaks of a lack of self-respect as well. Respecting humanity in you to respect it in everyone else.
Children are like, based on everything my ear holes are receiving now. It's like they're the clearest lens that we have to look into society's disease, I guess.
Yes, absolutely. The
and
honesty
perceptions
of,
of self and everything.
Yeah.
Children
how
are
you
so,
perceive yourself is it's going to mirror in your child.
Kids are so aware and unaware of something at the same time, and that's a very, very interesting concept. Because, like, on one hand, a child can be like severely, traumatized from a divorce, for example. But on the other hand, they might not realize that they're being traumatized. Of
course not.
Because there's a certain capacity to understand.
They have less of a frame of reference.
Context.
Yes, but later you realize, and it does.
Yeah, that's the thing.
It festers.
It has incredible effect. So I do like the idea of looking toward children and having that bleed into something greater. Very interesting.
Yeah, and also another point, particularity in universality. we live in such a diverse country. There's too many cultures. No, I'm not saying it like it's a problem, but like there's a lot of cultures, and I think that's the thing. That's like the key thing that we should be looking at to bring us together as people, and at the same time, that understanding of each other, that mutual, thorough understanding of each other, and what cultural backgrounds we come from often speaks on the structures in our minds and what we're open to and what we understand as right or wrong and all of that. So I kind of do this thing where I advocate for my culture, Zulu culture, and try and express what I understand of it so that people can understand it. And hopefully we can have a conversation where I can speak on Afrikaans culture, for instance, and my influence of it. And that's how we can understand each other. Even though we don't adhere to our cultural rules, this is kind of what we were taught. And in South Africa, I think that diversity aspect needs to be thoroughly explored, like the traditions and the culture, and that being taught at schools. And this is like the identity behind different races and cultures, and like we have so much to still speak of, and start from a younger age and just being taught flat out structures that have already been constructed by schools and education and all that. But I feel like education is the root. It's the tool through which we can understand each other and hopefully avoid these problems in the future, because this is like the root of where the problems start and they grow into bigger issues. And I know that mental health is sometimes in one's DNA. I believe that some people are diagnosed with things that have been with them since they were born. But at the same time, some people get these diseases as a result of an unresolved trauma from a young age, or so avoidance is we can't avoid avoiding. What am I trying to say? But like we can't completely avoid it, but we can decrease the stigma behind treating mental health. We can decrease the lack of understanding between people and how they think and how they know things. And we can hopefully increase the willingness to fix oneself, through every avenue possible, because we are given so many in this day and age.
I'd like to draw on something you said. You spoke about all the different cultures in South Africa and how it's my opinion that because we have so many different cultures, and if we're all willing to learn these cultures and learn these things, how easily adaptable we would be to the rest of the world. And if we, as South Africans, and as a country and as a nation as a whole, can accept each and every one of us and acknowledge our similarities and our differences, we can be an example to the rest of the world.
Exactly.
I mean, that's, for example, with that, cultural appropriation is an interesting topic to come out of that. I mean, this thing of defending a culture like, this is my culture, you are not allowed to do this or touch this. I really think there's something very toxic in that. Because firstly, it's verging on a sort of sense of identity politics, like this is who I am, this is what I am, you're not allowed to have it. And it creates more segregation.
Yeah.
I get that point. I do agree with it, but also there's also something really toxic in taking something of someone's culture and minimalizing it and making it a joke.
That's my next point. Is the fact that
because that's what we see. That's what we see nowadays happening. It's not a proper acknowledgement of somebody's tradition and culture. It's a joke. It's something to be laughed at.
Exactly. Like dressing up as a red Indian for Halloween in America is a good example of that's very ignorant.
Yeah.
What does that have to do with being scary at all? Like, I mean, that's like back in the day when people were scalping people. Stop it. And it's not even. It doesn't even respect their actual traditional attire. But I think if it's done, I mean, dreadlocks, a very good example. white people getting dreadlocks.
Okay.
This is a huge topic where people are, there's like
Yeah,
controversy.
yeah,
on it.
I've
Yeah.
seen the internet.
Are white people allowed to have dreadlocks? And then I don't know. No,
It's the same question of are
You know.
black people allowed to have weaves?
But then exactly,
You know?
then it draws back on that. It's like, why do black people get weaves in the first place? Is to be like to meet the European standards,
Yeah.
right?
So
And I mean that's where that started.
yeah.
But now, can a black woman not just do whatever she wants? Can any woman or person not
Do
just do
whatever
whatever
they want.
to express themselves?
As long as there's consciousness behind
As
it,
long
I
as it's
think.
conscious and there is some sort of understanding and education, it's not done in ignorance.
Yes.
Not done just like.
For the sake of it, for
For show,
Because-
for funnies,
Yeah.
for whatever, to tell your boots, back home what you did. Like, no, none of